Samoa, ia mua mua, lea tua, I mea uma. Samoa, ia tau tuana, I mai.
What's up, everybody? How we doing? I'm gonna cut the intro short today. This is DavidMeni, Samoan Watchman. Welcome back to the show. And hey, we're gonna do something a little different today. We have a special guest, and so my first on this series, the first time I got somebody that wanted to talk about this subject, which I've been covering for quite some time now. Just been calling it mind probing, but don't really have an official name. It's pretty much something's reading our minds, and we're somehow connected to the internet here. And you know how the weirdness goes. It's unending here. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back, Moises. Good to see you. Sharon, welcome back, you guys. Good to see you all. And that's all we got for now. But anyways, hope you guys are having a good day. I know it's been hot in a lot of places. A lot of you guys have been hurting, and I've been seeing the Tina chats and Ronnie's channel, and I've been praying for a lot of you guys. Hope you guys are doing well, whatever it is you're dealing with. May you guys be blessed. Continue to stay prayed up, and you guys know I'm always here. If you guys need anything, if you guys want to talk. Anyways, I'm excited to share more about the subject that I've been covering for quite some time with this mind reading, mind probing, and I have somebody here today who has also been experiencing this phenomenon, and it seems like it's the same thing we're experiencing, and you know, based on the conversation that we've had so far, similar stories that we have and similar experiences, and I'm excited to hear about it from her today. And so I have Yana here, who I met from Facebook. If you guys please help me welcome our guest today. Let's see. All right, Yana, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on your show, David. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I was so excited to hear.
So yeah.
We got a little bit to go ahead and share a little bit about yourself that you'd like to our viewers here to hear. Maybe if you want to share a little bit or as little or as much as you want about where you're from or how you started seeing these things.
Okay, yeah, of course. So I live in Michigan. I am 27 years old, and I started noticing what I call mind reading technology. At least that's what I was calling for years. Started noticing it, I want to say sometime in the summer of 2018. Now, I remember the exact day vividly, and I'm sure it happened way before then, but I didn't really care or notice it that much except for this particular day. So one day, at the time, he was my fiance and now my husband. We were house sitting for our friends, and I was wearing this shirt. What was the band? Gorillaz. If anybody is familiar with the band Gorillaz, I was wearing their shirt, and then I just started not humming, I'm sorry. In my mind, I was like, you know how you think about the song tune in your mind, but you aren't actually singing it out loud. So I was doing that. Their song, what is it, Feel Good Inc. or something. I started singing that in my mind, and all of a sudden I'm on Facebook and I see an ad for Gorillaz. Now this was on my I have since deleted all personal social media, but when I saw that, I'm like, that's weird. Okay. And so I told my husband, I'm like, look at this. I'm wearing this shirt, and then I'm thinking about the song in my mind, and I didn't even like the page on Facebook. I didn't like the page. I didn't search for Gorillaz. I didn't recently play the song. It literally just popped up. Okay, well maybe that was a coincidence. I don't know. And then it just started happening over and over and over again. Now, that was since 2018. I haven't I don't remember all of the events from that long ago. I just remember that one specific time. And then obviously I remember more recent events, but it had happened so many times. I'm like, okay, well, am I going crazy? Let me research it on YouTube or something. And mind you, at the time if anyone is familiar with Edward Snowden, I had started learning about who Edward Snowden was. He's a United States whistleblower. He exposed government surveillance and how they're reading our phones and our text messages. Yeah, all that. So I was doing a lot of conspiracy stuff around that time.
NSA.
Yeah, the NSA.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought maybe those two had like a connection or something. So then that's when I found David Whitney's YouTube page. I'm like, wow, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one who's been experiencing this. And then I would research it on like the internet, and not many people were talking about it during that time. So I just felt really alone. And then I would talk to like my husband, and he would say, oh, well, that's impossible. They don't have mind reading technology. What are you talking about? How could they do that? And other people as well. And more recently, people would say, oh, well, it's just the algorithms, or it's probably stuff that you searched a long time ago and they just predicted what you would think. Like, well, how? Like, here's another example. This was, sorry if I'm rumbling on. I'm really passionate about this.
Oh,
and
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm really excited to
Oh,
finally
good. I'm glad.
Okay, I want to get it all out. So, okay, I'm gonna think
Absolutely.
Okay, so this other time, and this is a little TMI, but this is literally how it happened. So I was thinking to myself one day, wow, I wish I had a bra that was like strapless, that didn't require me to have to put it on, like just cover up the front part. Would you believe I got an ad, and I didn't even know that this bra existed? I just thought about it in my head. And
Wow.
literally the same bra that, like, wow, this is the exact bra that I was thinking of. Wow, perfect. How? And then another time, oh man, I wish I had some shoes, because I'm a new mom. Like, oh, I wish I had some shoes that I don't have to tie. I can just slip on. And I started getting ads for slip-on shoes.
Yeah.
Like, it's just stuff like that. And then now this happened with movies as well. So I'm fairly young, so I don't know how old everyone else is, but there's this movie that my mom and I used to watch all the time. It was called Hand That Rocks the Cradle. If anybody is familiar with that movie. I have been thinking about it a lot, and then I got an ad for it on YouTube. So yeah, that's happened with like movies I've thought of, different celebrities. Celebrities is the big one. This actually happened today with celebrities. If anybody is familiar with the actress Megan Good, I have been thinking about her, and now I'm seeing ads for Megan Good on Facebook. And that was just today.
Wow.
And then what I was telling you.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then what I was telling you earlier with the box of crackers, Simple Truth. My husband had brought some yesterday, and then he brought them again today. We hadn't talked about it, nothing. And literally the exact same brand pops up on Facebook. Like, okay. So, yeah. I thought
so it sounds like
it is very frequent. It's very frequent. I wish like I had kept like a record.
Yeah, so it sounds like
Oh, I'm sorry. I think the chat is delayed. I'm sorry if I'm talking over you.
Yeah, it's okay. No, that's all right. I'm used to that. It's the same thing at my job. So don't worry about it. But yeah, it's it sounds like we're experiencing the same. And it's interesting to see the different platforms that it's showing up on, because now it's not just social media for me. It's showing up with different things. And just like how, so is what I wanted to get to is it just thoughts, or is it things that you touch? Is it something that you see? Because I find it triggers that, because here's the thing, because people are going to say, well, it's something that you searched, it's something that you purchased, it's something we all know that these things are listening all the time. Now that's basic knowledge. It should be, with the NSA. You know, these things are always listening. So are these things always listening? You know, and so, but now it's beyond that. It's more than what I say. It's what I'm looking at. The other day was a can of Raid in the corner of my room, you know, from fighting bugs, and yeah, I'm getting Raid commercials. You know,
Yeah,
just by looking, I glanced over at it, and then, you know, boom, there it is.
I forgot to mention
You know, are
that.
you getting more things like that?
Yet, most definitely. Like, I'm getting chills right now, even thinking about it. So, I remember one time in
Mhm.
particular, I was in my shower and I was reaching over for my soap. And I have like a walk-in shower. So I'm reaching over. I'm like, man, I hope I don't fall while I'm trying to reach for this soap. And then
Mhm.
I got an ad. Well, this was specifically what I had thought about. Then I get an ad for a shower floor mat. And then you see a woman reaching over, grabbing soap.
Yes,
Or like,
that's one of my earliest memories. Was the mat, the non-slip mat. That's one.
really? You said,
Yeah, that was one of my first ones actually.
wow, that's weird.
Just just because I got, you know, it was every day you go shower and you get into your routine, and you know, after a couple of weeks of you know, nearly slipping, I'm like, okay, you know, I need to find a mat. And then I start getting, you know, commercials. I forgot. Yeah, I want to say it was YouTube. At first, it was just mainly YouTube for me, you know, because, well, I don't go on Facebook or Instagram that much, you know, and I don't touch what's the other one? Not Instagram. I'm on Instagram a little bit, but I don't touch Snapchat at all. TikTok, I have an account and don't do nothing with it. But yeah, it's mainly YouTube for me, you know. But I see you guys, you got it on Facebook, which I've experienced on Facebook and Instagram. Yes, even Google. You know, I don't know if you've got that one where you know, I use Google Chrome, and so you, like right now, I have StreamYards on on one tab. If you open up another tab, if you do it on the phone, it has like articles, news articles,
Yeah.
and those articles are always showing me stuff that I've been thinking about.
Yeah, like, so whenever because I barely use Google because I got like a de-Googled phone and I use DuckDuckGo. But there are times when I do use Google, and literally as I'm typing something, it literally finishes my whole thought. My whole thought. And that is just
Wow,
really trippy to me. And I find it weird how
absolutely.
Facebook
That's-
I find it weird how Facebook has been asking, so what's on your mind? Have you noticed that?
No,
If
I
go
haven't
on,
got that one.
yeah, go on Facebook, and when you go to type in,
Oh, Facebook. I'm thinking
yeah,
Google.
Facebook asks you what's on your mind.
Really?
They didn't always do that.
Well, they give us clues. You know, they give us clues here and there. Um, so I get this a lot, you know, and one of the things that, because people are gonna, you know, again, I think this whole internet thing is all linked. There's no privacy. If you purchase something at Walmart, you know, yesterday, chances are you're gonna get an advertisement on that, you know, very soon. You know, our purchases are not private, you know, and I can't explain how that happens, but um, I don't think there's privacy in what we shop, you know, especially you know, everything's electronic now. But there was a time where I went into, I love this. It's not a real 99-cent store. It's one of those Asian 99-cent stores. You know, it's like just a little dollar store. And I go in there and there's a lot of good stuff in there. And, you know, there's things I like to get from there. And just walking around, I was just checking out, you know, what they got going on, because there's a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of people don't realize how much good stuff they got over there. We have one here called QQ's. And I was walking around and I one of those thick rubber mats for the floor that kind of like contours to whatever vehicle you have. You know, I saw it in there and I was like, man, this is what we need in the truck. And I touched it. You know, I was just kind of feeling how thick it was and if it was durable enough to spend the money on it. Um, and I didn't get it. I walked out, but I get commercials on YouTube, advertising these fitted rubber mats for your car, for so when you put like a muddy, bicycle in there or something, just get all over the place. But I'm like, there it goes again. Things that I'm touching now is also triggering it. Um, it's a crazy thing,
Well, we both
A lot of
sound.
people say, what's the importance of this? Go ahead.
I was just saying, we both sound crazy right now talking about it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm used to this though. But you know what? I of course it's gonna look crazy. I'm what you call a truther, conspiracy theorist or whatever. I go down the rabbit holes. I like to put the pieces together, question things. I don't think everything is as it seems, as they told us. By the way, hello Kelly. I see Moises and Sharon going. So Moises was sharing. I really hope that's not the case, because there's a lot of weird people that think that have messed up thoughts. That's funny. Yeah, because um, well, as long as the internet's not showing me what other people are thinking, I'm, I'm okay. You know what I mean? But definitely, it is. I'm feeling that it is tapping into what I think, and it's a big deal. You know what I mean? It's a big deal because we've already lost a lot of freedoms. In the world, the current status of the world. Platforms where you can't say what you really feel, and things like that. And putting my oldest child back into a regular school, because I homeschool my children, but my oldest wanted to go back, and so the requirements of putting my child back into a regular school is all against my beliefs. And so I definitely been feeling downhearted about that. Losing my freedoms here, or the reality of our freedoms being lost. Anyways, I feel like our mind is like one of the true last areas of freedom that we have left, and to see that something is in there, and knows what I'm thinking, it's kind of it's very disturbing. I hear you when you say you're passionate about it. I'm behind you 100% on that, because yeah, I think it's ridiculous. you know, there should be nobody there, no program there, no person there monitoring what we're thinking, how we're feeling, and advertising, and so um I hear you on some of the things that they show us are very personal. Like you said, it was like it's TMI, but I had the same exact thing with undergarments. It's just men's stuff, but these things, there's no hiding away from these whatever it is that you want to call it. Do you agree on that?
Yes, I definitely think that the most like disappointing thing is the backlash from sheeple. Most definitely, like
Mm,
family,
yeah,
friends. It's really disheartening, and it's like, are we living in a? We're living in a twilight zone. We really are. Like this is like one big movie.
absolutely. I said we're that guy pointing out the thing on the wing, right? And everybody's looking at us like, "What are you crazy? There's nothing there." But um, my proof for me, yeah, my wife, when I show her things, I'm like, look, hon, why aren't we just talking about this? You know what I mean? Why aren't we just going over this? And here it is. Like this morning. So we have somebody who passed away recently last week, and I like to video services, church services, family gatherings, all kinds of things. I like to be the guy with the camcorder. That was my dad growing up. My dad was always the guy with the camcorder, and so that's me now. I like to record things and do it a nice way. I'm not a professional videographer or anything, but I do have a pretty nice camera, and I've been thinking about going to an adult school and taking a class on photography, videography, and kind of getting better in that area. But here's what I get on Facebook, Let me see if I can get it to focus there. There it is. Oh, it's a school teaching
Oh,
about videography in Los Angeles. You know what I
wow.
mean? And I got me a camera, not big and fancy like that, but a pretty nice camera I got for because I stream our church services. Um, and it's all my stuff. I went and bought, and I want to get better in that area. I want to do it kind of like a professional. I'm not gonna open up a business or anything. I just want to make really nice videos. And so I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe I could just take a class and pay for it and learn how to do it the right way. And here it is. Here they are sharing me. You know, um, you shared something that happened today. Was that the crackers, or was it something else?
It was the crackers. And when you talk about like when you look at stuff, yeah, I literally just looked at the crackers. Like there was no talk about it, nothing. I just looked at it and I'm seeing ads for it.
Wow.
So
I think this is getting bigger than the internet. Um, I think it's onto television. Now we talked about that before we went live. I don't watch TV. Like I have a TV. We don't pay for a cable service. The only streaming service we have is what came free with our phone plan. So there are some things that I watch, and then I do have one for. I don't watch I'm not like a big streaming guy, or what do you call that? Or you sit there and watch these streaming services. You sit there binge watcher. I'm not a big binge watcher. I like to watch old shows. Like right now, I'm watching Taxi. I like the old school comedy. The new
yeah.
stuff doesn't interest me at all. None of the new stuff. And so I watch Cheers. If the newest thing I would say is probably The Office. But that's as far as I go. Anything else, I don't watch. Um, every now and then I'll watch a movie with my wife and stuff, something like that. But we're not really big on television. But when we're visiting family or when we're at a hotel, we're traveling and the TV is on, I'm noticing that the same thing that I'm experiencing on social media, on YouTube with these commercials, I'm getting now on television. It's commercials on television now, and I'll turn around, I'll hear it playing, I'll turn around like what? Like last week we had a lot of family over for my wife's birthday, and they were at a hotel swimming. At later on, all the kids were all swimming, and we have there's a big TV out there at the hotel, and the older folks are playing rummy and just kind of hanging out. And yeah, the TV was running, and same thing. The television kept playing things that I was thinking of. I was like, I gotta be tripping. This now it's television now. Like it's something is up here. Um, so we covered some of the platforms that's coming on some of the devices. So tell up your phone because people are also going to bring up smartphones and things like that.
Yeah, so when I start in the beginning when I was researching into the whole mind reading technology, I'm like, oh well, it has to be the phone because I at this point I don't think it was happening. At least I don't remember it happening much. Like when I would get on my computer and I would go on YouTube and stuff. It was more so. Well, I guess during that time I was more on my smartphone during that time because I was much younger then. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just get rid of the smartphone. I'll go back to a flip phone. And so obviously you can't do a lot of things that you could do on your smartphone with a flip phone. So I would be on my computer more. And once I started using my computer more, that's when I was on and at the time I still had my Facebook and Instagram. I was noticing more and more mind reading, specifically with YouTube and Facebook at the time. I would say mostly
Yeah,
YouTube. And I researched,
nice.
well, how are they doing the mind reading technology? And I have found at the time like articles saying, "Oh, Facebook is working on mind reading technology," or what will and this was a TED Talks video. What will happen if our technology could read our minds and stuff like that? And I would get like different articles
Oh,
talking about mind reading. So I'm like, okay, well, this isn't so far fetched as people would like to think it is. It really isn't.
Right.
And what I discovered
Yeah, the
recently,
technology is there.
yeah, it really is. And I would always have conversations with my husband about it. And I would say, well, is it the cell phone towers? Like, literally, I've been going crazy about this topic for the past, how many years? It's 2018. So, what is that?
Mhm.
I'm having a brain fog right now. 5 years?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 years. And I
Um,
honestly think that I might have found what it actually is, but I might be talking too fast
okay.
and ahead of myself, so I'll wait.
No. Well, let's catch everybody up on that. So, this is a gentleman named David Whitney, and the stuff that I was talking about before I met you. This is the gentleman that he was the first person I come across, and now I'm starting to notice a little bit more. But he was the first person I witnessed, or I mean, I've come across that seems like he's experiencing the same. And he did the same thing as you, put the smartphone away and got himself a flip phone, and he started to notice, the things are it's continuing. It's still going on. He doesn't like to talk about it very much, and you gotta look at the person's background and see where they're all about, to see if anything that they say, if there's any validity to it. He's not a truther by any means. He is a fitness expert. He shares about doing squats and doing workout routines, and mainly strength training. So that's him. Here's another person that I've come across. Now, when you share about, we're going to go into theories. I think we'll kind of tie it up there, because people want to know, well, what it is, what is it, and what do we think it is. Um, Here's another person I come across. Now, I don't know about you, but
I watched that.
I'm really, we talked about how I'm really into the Mandela effect. You watched this one? Okay.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, when I watched it 2 times. When I first watched it, I'm like, what? That seems a little out there. But then I watched it again. I'm like, huh. Literally, what she said was something that I have found in another video that I want to talk about later. Like, oh, okay, so maybe
Okay.
she isn't like some people, they have, like, I think, wacky ideas of what it could be. And I thought she was one of them at first
Yeah.
until I like had an open mind about it. I don't know.
Well, I find that people have, there's another gentleman, a friend of mine on YouTube named Lucky Haskins, and hey, what's up, James? Welcome to the show, brother. Lucky Haskins, he's a good guy. He covers propaganda, and he covers his favorite topic is flat Earth, but he covers a lot of things. Um, and he likes to tell people, like, hey, when people point, this direction, you got to be the guy that goes against the grain and kind of decipher, use discernment, whether the information that is being brought to you is being brought by a valid person. If they're, you got to look at their affiliations, you got to look at where they're coming from and research what they're talking about. She covers some stuff now, and I find that everybody has like a piece of the puzzle. They don't have it all together, but they bring something to the table that is valid. They bring something that's worth looking into. She brings some heavy information here about light, that everything is light, and how she talks about pretty much in a different form. Like I like to look into frequencies, how
Hmm.
everything is kind of projected to us during frequencies, and there's different vibrations out there, and this really caught my eye, especially when I started looking at the YouTube channels. Have you ever looked at the channels where they talk about like, here's a sound that only your children can hear? I mean, there's like a video, you don't hear anything as an adult, but as a child they can pick up on different frequencies and they can hear that stuff.
Yeah.
And I tested it with my children all the time, and I'll play it and pause it, play it, pause it, and I'll ask them, "Am I playing it right now?" And they're always laughing, like, "Yeah, Dad, we can hear it. You can't hear it." I'm like, "No, I don't hear nothing." They're like, "What is this?" You know what I mean? That scares the crap out of me because who knows what they're hearing and I'm not. You know what I mean? Subliminal messaging. You
Wow.
know, who knows what
It-
messages are being portrayed to them? You
It's
know,
crazy you bring that up.
that's a scary thought.
Yeah, that made me think of like when they're obsessed with certain like kid shows.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel
Exactly. Who's really talking to them right below the radar for us, right beneath our noses? You know, they could be having things chanted to them, you know, whispering to them, and we have no idea. You know, and it's just a form of programming. You know, I believe a lot of people are under a spell and they just don't know it. You know, and it sounds crazy, but there's people that, like, for instance, I have a brother. He's my infamous brother on my channel. Always arguing with every theory I have, no matter what. When I bring up this, he's like, "Oh, well, this is what it is." And I bring up that, he goes, "Oh, well, this is what it is." He always has to be against the grain. And there's things that I'm like, I know I'm gonna get him on this subject because we both grew up watching wrestling, you know. And I'll bring up a subject and I'll ask him a question, and then I know I got him, but then he just for some reason he deflates it. He explains it away, and it's like I'm like it got to the point to where it's no longer a person who doesn't like me. It's no longer a person who just doesn't disagree. It just doesn't want to agree with me. This is a person who's just straight up programmed now. And that's the conclusion I've come to with my brother. And I'm not just trying to be an angry older brother or anything like that, or anything like that. Hey, what's up, Ed? Some of my good friends, Ed. There. Um, I truly believe there's some people that are under that some kind of programming, channels, broadcasting. These are all funny words,
mm-hmm.
that they use. There's something going on under, with different frequencies.
Yeah. Have you seen the
But
movie They Live?
yes, good
Remember the
one. Yeah,
scene where they were
absolutely.
fighting and he was like trying to force him to put the glasses on, and he was literally like fighting they were
Yeah,
like a good 10-minute fight. That reminds me of how
that
I
was
feel.
the longest fighting scene.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's how it is. There's going to be people that, they're just going to stick to the guns and they're going to fight against it because it's against what they were taught. It's against the mainstream, perception of the world. And so a lot of people aren't going to see it, and you got to fight them to really get to, and, to this understanding. And so we're going to look like, the crazy one, like, put these on, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh,
So with this one, she does cover a lot of good stuff. Some of it I've heard for a first time, but it's pretty much. Let me pause that. She gets to help me refresh my memory. I only got to hit through it one time, and she was talking about everything is light, and that there's a program that kind of explains things to us, as they get broadcasted out.
well, my thing is, how does she know this?
Have you looked into her background?
No, I haven't. I looked at like some of the videos she has
Okay,
on
so
YouTube,
she,
but that was it.
uh-huh. So I never asked you, what's your, like, do you have like a religious background or um, a
Yes,
belief? Because for me, I'm a Christian.
yeah, I'm Jewish.
Oh, okay. Right now. Okay, so then you're aware that there's like mythical teachings and things like that out there.
Yes, like
Stuff that we shouldn't be messing with.
Yes, sorcery, witchcraft. Yeah, I'm very familiar with all
Mhm.
that.
Okay, good. Because so there's going to be what we call gatekeepers, people who um people who well they're just kind of placed there to kind of throw us off track, you know. Um, some of these people are, you know, employed to do this kind of thing. Some of these people, I believe, like I share with my brother, I think he's like some kind of gatekeeper that was put under this kind of spell. He's being used to be a gatekeeper, just to kind of throw people off the scent of truth, so they can, you know, just to keep us distracted and disturbed to where we don't put things together. And then there's people that are there, and I believe people are used and they don't realize they are. This person that we just talked about, the crowned current person. Let me see if it'll go back to her video here. She has so she's a witch, kind of. I hate to call somebody that, but she has she's into witchcraft stuff.
Yeah, I can
Some of her
tell.
videos were like, you know, motivational. Yeah, you know what I mean. So there's like a lot of candle burning and weird stuff like that. That's, you know, some of the stuff that we're supposed to stay away from. But she does like motivational videos, and then she has a couple of shorts where she kind of gives away, like she's gonna do a card reading thing one night, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I got to be careful with you. You know, that's pretty much how it is. When you got to we got when you go diving into these truth, you know, these what do you call those rabbit holes that they say. You got to be careful where you get the information. I find on Twitter is like swamped with people that are into Wicca and witchcraft. You know, and they seem like normal people. And you talk, I've been talking with some of them for quite a while, and I was like, "Whoa, you're into that kind of stuff?" Like, I gotta be no offense, but I gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So I think
But yeah.
that
Anyways, that's but
I'm I'm sorry. I was gonna say I think that the I don't know if it's because our time zones are different, but every time I talk, it's like delayed and it cuts you off. And I'm sorry.
no, that don't worry about it. I live on the West Coast and I work on the East Coast, so I deal with people through the internet. As part of my job. And so I'm used to the delay. I'm sorry. It's, we probably should have covered that in the beginning. That there's gonna be, if you need to say something, just go ahead. You know, I'll pause once I hear you talking, so we can try to eliminate the issue with the delay.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, what did you want to say?
Oh, I was just making sure you knew I wasn't talking over you. I was just saying that the chat is delayed.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're just gonna have to fight through it. Well, but we can get through it.
Okay.
Ed, this is Yana, a friend from Facebook who is also experiencing the mind reading. And she reached out on Facebook and told me that she was experiencing similar stuff, and I wanted to interview her on the subject and get her thoughts and share our experiences. You know, and so um, yeah, anything you want to say, Yana, just go ahead, throw it out there. But
I searched through
you covered how often, how you said it's.
David Whitney's comments, thousands of comments he had, and I found the Samoan Watchman's YouTube page.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because not many people
It's always
say,
good to
"Oh,
connect
make
with people,
videos."
you know. Not many people say what?
A lot of people like they'll comment, but they don't say, "Oh, I have a YouTube channel and I make videos about this." You were the one of the only ones I saw that mentioned that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I had to throw that out there because I'm like, I looked and he was like, is he not talking about this anymore? You know what I mean? Because he made a few videos and I was like, I want to hear more about it. You know, I want to hear more about his experience.
Yeah, I actually tried reaching out to him a few times. But I can't find any of his contact information because I didn't want to like make a YouTube or anything. Because I've been wanting to talk about this for years, but it seemed like no one really wanted to like talk about it like that.
Well, of course, we're gonna seem really crazy talking about it. um, but I'm at that point now where I'm like, okay, if it's gonna happen to me every day, like it is to you, I'm gonna talk about it because I want to know how big of a thing this is, who's being affected by it, and I want to hear people's theories, and I want to kind of get to the point of, um, because obviously it's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong for anybody to be in our head like that, and I want to know what other people. I think it's a demonic thing behind it, which we can cover real quick. But
Yeah,
have you
so
seen this one?
I've seen something similar, like with their weird technology. Yeah, definitely have seen something similar to that.
This is I believe it's Google that they have this device. It's a wearable. You can put it on and off whenever you want, and it links directly to your brain. So the gentleman in front of him is interviewing this guy and is asking him questions like random, like what's the population of this city in India, and this person will ask Google, and here's Google picking up the thoughts, the words. These are the words that he's thinking, and it's showing it on the screen, and it'll feed him through his brain, not audible, but it'll feed him the answer, and he'll say it out loud. You know, so he's Googling using his mind. This is just a thing that you put on your head. So this is the technology that they're talking about. Um, and these days everything is AI now, artificial intelligence. I don't think it's artificial at all. I think there's a being behind it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I definitely believe that there's a battle against good and evil right now. Definitely. And
Oh
it seems
yeah,
like evil has
I'm
been.
glad you.
I was
Sorry, I
saying,
I didn't mean to cut you off. Evil is what?
it seems as if evil is winning right now in these days, because even in the Bible, in Torah, it says that there will be a time where good will be considered evil and evil is good. And we are definitely in those times.
Amen. Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely. Well, the enemy is flexing. You know, um, and I think he's doing it through things like this mind reading. I think he's doing it through Mandela effect, which I've shared so many examples of it, and I know that it's true. And I know that the enemy wants to be all powerful, all knowing, omnipotent. And what a way to be omnipotent. He can't do it on his own, but through the frequencies of the internet, which we just barely scratched the surface in our knowledge of it. I think this is tech that was taught to us, that the enemy has been mastered. They already know how to travel through the waves. I mean, that's my thought on it. I don't know how much you've looked into that.
So you said that you, in the beginning of the show, that you read a lot of different apocrypha books. I do as well. I read the apocrypha, and I read the Book of Jubilees and the Book of Enoch. Well, I was reading the Book of Enoch the
Oh,
other
very
day.
nice.
Yeah, I was reading the Book of Enoch the other day, and I remember reading something about how the fallen angels, or the watchers, whatever you want to call them, they, what was it?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, one second. What was it? What? Basically, they want to live forever. So I believe that because they want to
Yeah.
live forever, they're using artificial technology as a way to try to live forever. I really believe, like, a lot of people are talking about all these aliens and stuff. Like, I really believe that aliens are literally fallen angels. I really believe that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. 100%. So this is I'm not an expert on that stuff. I'm reading the book of Enoch now. I'm loving what I'm hearing. And all the other apocrypha, like Book of Jasher and all that. I'm starting to get into it. I'm by no means an expert, but I'm starting to hear a lot of stuff that makes so much sense there. It's putting the pieces together for me. Um, so as far as the technology, for those who haven't looked into it yet, Book of Giants, yes, Ed, that's one of the ones I've been listening to. Like I'll clean up and I'll be listening to it. Very important. What you call it? Very interesting information there. So the technology that was taught, so all this stuff, including mirrors, including cutting of the roots and the medicine, all this stuff was taught to us, but it was not meant for us to have. And then they talked about the black mirror, and that's another thing. We got mirrors and black mirrors now, which we were not supposed to have. That was not in God's vision for us, but because of what have happened and the banishment of those guys that to stay down here, whether they are the watchers or the sons of the watchers, they taught us this. And Enoch goes through it, slowly, about which angel taught us weapons and which angels taught us this and which angels taught us that. And I believe that I don't know if you're into the whole Tartaria stuff. Um, Definitely, there's stuff that we have that was transferred over, that was given over, information that we have, technology that we have, the electricity, everything that we have that we know has a we the way we view it. I believe we've been kind of, what's the easy way? There's no easy way. We've been lied to about electricity, about energy, about power, about frequencies, you
And,
know, uh, um, energies and light transfers, all this stuff.
and you want to know what's the crazy thing? That people are actually denying, like, even like in religion. Like, I believe that religious people are the biggest fools to me. Like, you say you're religious, but what does that actually mean? Like, you could talk to any religious
Right.
person about, like, the book of Enoch, for instance, and they'll say, "Oh no, that's not biblical." Well, why isn't it biblical? Or fallen angels, that's not
Yeah,
biblical. Well,
says who?
why isn't it? Like, your pastor, your rabbi, what?
Exactly. Right. That's very true. So I go to church. I go to a normal, I can't say normal, but I go to a regular church. But in my mind, I go to worship. And I, deep ties to this church. It's pretty much our family. But they know where I'm at. They're like, David's the guy who's out there. He's like way out there, and he be reading some weird stuff. And that's why I had to step down from the pulpit, because I'm like, I can't preach in this church that's confined to this certain way of thinking. I come to worship. I come to to give my to praise my Lord God, and and that's as far as I go. But my true calling, when it comes to God is, I wouldn't have stepped down if I didn't pray and pray and pray and ask, like, is this where you want me to be? You know, and the Father said no. This is, the Father has me doing other things, studying other things. And so the church, I still go to church because I'm interested. I'm very interested in the response. And people will say, you've abandoned your calling. You're looking into these weird doctrines. I'm like, am I? Or am I looking to the full doctrine? It's just you guys are afraid to address it. And I'm interested in seeing how people are reacting, and I'm getting, I'm willing to go through that kind of a verbal mental beat down that they give me. the eyes looking at me, judging that I'm the weird one, and I don't mind. I like to. I think this is how we help people break free from that mold, because they're just kind of confined.
Yeah, I have my share of religious people, and like they're not wanting to be open minded to the truth, I should say. Um, it's
Yeah.
just really sad, and it hurts because you say that you love God, but you like, okay, the people that say they love God, they're either liberal or they don't, they're not passionate about what's actually happening in the world. Like we're debating religious doctrine, or we're debating, I don't know how many apostles there were or something, like just stupid stuff. We're not debate, like, why aren't we
Yeah.
talking about what's actually going on in the world? That's what should be our focus. There's so
Right.
much evil nowadays, and we people talk about the same thing every Shabbat or every Sunday. Like, why aren't we actually
Hmm.
networking and speaking about things that are actually going on today, not 2,000 years ago?
That's true. That's true. And then it's been a big turn off for me, because I'm not getting the substance. I'm not, I come and I'm like wanting to learn, of applying the text from back then to what's going on today. Because it seems like what goes on today is to cover up all that we've been taught, in the past. And it's kind of what do you call that? It's like everything's focused on just this little area. That's what I'm finding in the few churches that I'm involved in. And I found, a lot of people go just for the pick me up. A lot of people go to for the encouragement, and that's all good. But really open up to what God has done and what God wanted, for us here today. And see what the enemy is, and that'll open people's eyes up to what the enemy is doing today, covering up things here and there, turning your eyes away from this kind of stuff here and there. We're so blinded from a lot of the law, and now law is a big thing that is kind of being turned away. People Christians are being turned away from. The ultimate grace covers everything. Is kind of what's being taught. And that's a whole another thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like
they're done that.
I've had my. Go ahead.
I was just saying, been
Yeah.
there, done that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then when it came to certain situations that went on the past few years, I'm looking at the church like, okay, uh you know what do we do? And they did exactly what I thought they would. It would just kind of cower away and um just be obedient and listen and sit down and shut up, that kind of thing. I was like, okay, I see how we are. You want to know who's in your foxhole. What I mean, you want to know who's got your back when the battle's raging. um and I didn't find my help there. So, but that's church. Anyways, have a good relationship with God and read up on His Word, and He'll lead you and guide you in the way. Pray and ask Him for discernment, ask for the understanding, and God will lead you and guide you the right way. And it might not be the way of man, but that's the whole point, isn't it? You gotta
Yes,
wait for God to tell you.
yes. Well, I can't believe
So
I'm actually
let's
talking
see. We
to someone
covered
about this.
what was that?
I was just saying, I can't believe I'm actually finally talking to someone about all of this. Like, I just feel like a bottle that
Oh,
is finally busted open with excitement.
well, I'm glad. That's good. That's awesome. I mean, I'm glad you're here today talking with us about it. And welcome to the community. There's a lot of our friends here on YouTube. We have a handful here. Ed's here. He's a very knowledgeable person. Sharon, she's always there. Moises, and Kelly are good people. There's a great community we have here. Some of us talk more of the truth. Sometimes we get into like karaoke stuff. Sometimes we cover, some of us cover the news. I cover more of this stuff, like the mind reading stuff, the Mandela effect, how things are changing right in front of us, and people are just so blinded. I want to get to that. Like, why is it that people are blinded to some of these things that are happening? Why is it that some of so? Well, let me ask you that. What do you think? Um, Two questions, if I can ask you, because I think we covered the majority of everything. We already established that we're experiencing the same thing here, and it's happening the same ways, and we're both kind of in the same position where it's kind of like we're seeing all this, and the world is looking at us like, "What are you talking about?" So two questions. One, who do you think is behind it? I think we kind of dabbled into that, but who do you think the ultimate culprit is? Like, is it the enemy? Is it God? Is it the fallen ones? Is it man tampering with technology? Who do you think that person is? Um, and
So,
what was it? I just talked myself out of that second question. Go ahead.
mhm. So I believe obviously God created good and he created evil. And so he gave humanity free will. And I believe that in that free will came with obviously like with angels and them mating with women and all of that. And that resulted in like the fallen ones, the watchers. And so I believe a lot of it
Mhm.
is the Hasatans or Satan's literally tempting humanity and using humanity's own evil inclinations to get what they want, if that makes sense.
Mm. So you think it's man pretty much pushing forward a demonic agenda? Like, so they're being used as pawns
Yes.
to do this kind of deal, to use
Yes.
this.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. I, I think, and I think you're right. I was that's definitely one of the more popular ones for me. Um, I've had. Let me share something with you. So I have a friend, Eager Television is the name of his channel. He likes to cover mainly flat Earth. And so I learned about that stuff with him, and also the truth of uh, dinosaurs, if they were real or not. We kind of get into that conversation because it's a lot of funny stuff when it comes to that story. But he was sharing with me how he saw a black orb hovering in his room, and he looked over. He was just like following it around. I've seen one in real life in my garden. It kind of it just like hovered up to me, and I swatted at it with my hand, and it where I should have hit it. I thought it was a bug at first, but when I hit it, it just I felt like a funny feeling in my hand, and it disappeared. He saw something bouncing around along his bed, and then hop onto his cell phone, and that's when he realized like there's something in the technology here. um, what I witnessed is, these YouTube commercials, right? So there's always a funny commercial. There's always it's not just going to be music, or a picture. It's going to be somebody talking about a product, and then they're going to ask you a question like, hey, you always get wrinkles in your shirt? You know what I mean? It's always a question they start off with these commercials. Um, and I felt like as I started to cover this topic of the internet reading my mind, um, I was maybe like a month into it, and I was falling asleep. I was in bed. I was listening to somebody's podcast, and I was like laying on my stomach, and my head was resting on my forearms, and my phone was right there. Anyways, I fell asleep, and I woke up. Right, I woke up in the middle of this podcast, and a commercial runs as soon as I wake up. You never like you wake up choking a little bit and just trying to catch your breath. And I woke up, and then it goes right to commercial, and I'm conscious of what's going on because I could hear the guy's voice talking and talking and talking. And then when I wake up, and I'm like, oh, what happened? And it goes to commercial, And the commercial asks, you know, you wake up abruptly in the middle of the night, can't breathe. You know, started asking that question. And I was
Wow.
like, what the heck? This thing is, you know what I mean? And it almost like a mocking tone. You know what I mean? I got that feeling right away that there was some kind of demonic thing inside technology, inside the internet, uh, however you want to explain that. And I felt like it's just kind of flexing on us and showing us what it can do. And it just straight up mocked me, like, you know, because when you start to get into the subject, like, am I really having my mind, thought read my thoughts are being read here, or am I tripping? And I felt like it did that on purpose and just kind of asked me that question, like, yeah, you wake up in the middle of the night abruptly, and it was like, I don't know, I felt like it was a demon just kind of laughing at me, like, I don't know. It's just the feeling that I got, the emotion that overcame me right away. But yeah, I don't know. It's happened a couple times like that, where I would just be thinking about something and the commercial comes on, and too lazy to mow your lawn, some kind of question like that. It'll be a question, something that asks me about what I'm thinking. But I think there's something behind technology, especially with the 5G stuff going up. When you said 2018, for me it was when we experienced the lockdown. When we experienced the lockdown, LA, I was looking around. I was watching I was driving around, even though we were told to stay home. I was driving around, just taking note of everything. Construction went crazy in LA. They touched every single telephone pole. They put up these new devices up on each telephone pole. There's one right beside this room I'm in, is close to the back gate, and there's a street back there, and there's a telephone pole right outside of our room. And I want to say that this new frequency technology, when they unleashed this during that lockdown, that was getting people off the streets, was them giving the green light to put up this new technology and send out these frequencies and really amp it up. And that's when I started to realize, oh, everything I think is starting to show up on commercials, and I started documenting it. I started making videos on it. Yeah.
It's crazy how you noticed that during the lockdown. I wonder, like, did you change anything else during that time about yourself? Like, as far as like your diet goes, with GMOs or fluoride water or your toothpaste, that's when I started noticing all of this. Is when I stopped doing like GMOs and fluoride and
Wow.
fluoride water and all that.
Wow. You know what was the difference for me besides those towers? Months later, I had to go get me this. I know we're talking about how dangerous these things are, but let me not pull the plug. I got one of these units.
What
Right,
is
so
that?
this is the internet that I take with me as I travel. That's the internet router. That's the new one. It's all you need. You just plug that in, and it's 5G. And well, not the real 5G, but the higher frequency. I noticed that when they put up these towers, it started happening a lot. Then when I got that thing, which I needed it for work, 'cause I work online. Um, I'm right here next to this thing, so I feel like I'm tapped into it. I've exposed myself to it because I'm near this thing. It's like 3 feet away from me at all times. When I'm working and when I'm doing business things, or when I'm on social media, it's just right there. And I feel like it's really, like, when I talk about every day, 4 or 5 times a day, it's when I got that thing. So maybe I've exposed myself to it,
Yeah, you.
or I've somehow, you know,
I would say definitely don't like sit. Well, not just for like the whole 5G and like mind reading stuff, but for health wise, I wouldn't recommend like being so close to it. Or get like a Wi-Fi cover. They sell some there. I can send you some sites that sell them.
oh, okay. Yeah. I
Yeah,
never thought about that.
but I remember one day I went so crazy because I was like sick and tired of seeing all the ads for everything that was going on in my mind that I literally wrapped my laptop in aluminum foil. and my husband came home and he was like so distraught and wondering what was wrong. And I'm like, I'm tired of this mind reading stuff. And I don't know why I thought wrapping my laptop in aluminum foil would work, because it did not. So then I looked on Amazon. Well, what about anti-mind reading hats? And so I found one.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, but then someone said that if you use the hat, it will increase the radiation to your head, or something like that. I have to read the review again. But then when I researched the hat on YouTube, then I started getting ads for, what was it? People were not ads, different video, YouTube video recommendations for what is that called? When you're, what is it called? I'm sorry, let me think. Remote
That's okay.
something. It's remote something. Let me look it up. Remote is where people are, where they feel as if they're being controlled from their home. Remote. Can't think of it. I'm researching it right now.
Where they're being controlled?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's remote something.
Okay. Also get into well, we haven't talked about it today, but you sent that video, and I found it interesting too with the quantum computing. But again, I think that's a gatekeeper. I think that's gatekeeper information. You know what I mean? Like they'll throw something out there to get us thinking that it could be that, but really there's something else behind it. Kind of like the CERN and Mandela effect. I don't think CERN is really the culprit there.
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of research about CERN and what is it? CERN and the quantum computers. I believe that it's mostly the quantum computers. That's actually something that I recently started researching, was the quantum computers. But I'm
Yeah, I
still
think they've that's the what?
I'm still looking for what I was talking about. Is remote something. Like, this is gonna bother me until I find it.
What is it? Explain it again. Is it like them controlling things with from far away, or
I think I found it. Remote viewing. Have you heard of that?
remote viewer? No, let me see.
Yes, and there's so many YouTube videos of people talking about how they're a victim of that.
Practice of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen subject, reportedly sensing with the mind. Wow. Typically, a remote viewer is expected to give information about an object, event, person, or location that is hidden from physical view and separated at some distance. That sounds like what we're doing. That sounds like what we're experiencing here.
Doesn't it? That's why I thought it was
Just
that.
giving information away. Well, they say that the military, have gone into studying all these different technologies and how it could be applicable, how it can be used for, a military application or civilian application. I think there's a lot of technology out there that they use that they don't talk about. Some of it's very old. I don't think it's personally. I don't think it's developed by us. I
Oh
think
no.
it's information handed down.
This is fallen angel technology. Definitely. My husband, he thinks I'm so crazy when I say stuff like this, but I've been saying for years that I believe that, now you may laugh, that airplanes are literally fallen angel technology. They are. Nobody can convince me other that they're not. Airplanes are fallen angel technology.
Oh yeah, if the mirror was taught to us, the airplane was taught to us.
Yes, like what? How?
It's that simple, you
Why
know.
did man decide that they wanted to fly in the sky one day? Like, was that something that came from us, or was that like an outside source?
Yeah, and I mean, and I think it was Enoch that talked about how those things, they could fly. These fallen angels, the giants too. A lot of them could fly. Some of them had wings all over the place. You know, they definitely had the technology. They knew how to do it, so they
When
gave us something that we could use.
Yeah, when Enoch was
You know,
being
to
like shown around by the angel, it says something about how they were in some type of like vehicle, like flying vehicle.
right. Yeah, they were in a craft. Um, Let me see. Maybe switch this here and switch this here. There we go. Got a better view now. This is crazy. Remote viewing.
I'm surprised you never heard of this.
Typically, I never. Yeah, I haven't. When it started happening to me, I've only looked for people that were experiencing it. I didn't go too far into technological advances. I would just everything that I see. I would think. I figured there would be some kind of uh, what do you call it? Mainstream version of it, and then there's going to be the hidden version of it. But yeah, this is crazy. Let's see who came up with it. Early background: occult spiritualist literature, remote viewing, as tele. Oh, okay. So now we're going into spiritual stuff here. Now we're going into kind of like how people astral project. They're talking about probing our minds and getting information. This is what we're talking about. This is perfect. So the reason why I make a big deal of it, because a lot of people are going to look at us like, what's the point? Why are you talking about it? What's the big deal? Big deal is this: that there, like how we mentioned earlier, there is truly no freedom left. Our mind was the last, safe for information. Now it's open. It's open for everybody. Whoever's got the tech can get in there, and pretty much you can't hide anything. And to me, that's as bad as any other sin. This is crazy. Let's see. Early 1990s, Military Intelligence Board. Wow, this is interesting. I never got into this, but definitely gonna look into that. But yeah, I'm glad you feel the same way as a person who has experienced it. That it's not human tech. We're not sitting here developing. This isn't Google. Anybody that thinks that Elon Musk did anything, like, nah, he's just a front line, a front man. I mean, he's just a puppet. He didn't create nothing, didn't discover nothing. This is all tech handed down to us. It's just people. Now the question is, how far are they willing to go? To get into this. And oh, now we got ties to Church of Scientology. Okay, interesting.
Mhm. Well,
Occult chemistry.
I believe all
Wow.
these millionaires and billionaires and like people who are quote unquote in charge are definitely puppets. I don't care what president, I don't care who's president, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. All presidents are puppets. Literally everyone in power is a puppet.
I'm with you there. I went through that whole I fought for a president and I went through it. My take on that is that these spiritual entities that we've been talking about, all throughout the book of Enoch, the fallen ones, the watchers, the uh what do you call those? The Nephilim, these and disembodied spirits, these things are still around. And I believe that they feed on our energy. They feed on when the nation. Do you remember when Kobe Bryant passed away?
Yes.
Which I think it's all again scripted. I'm here in LA, and when that happened, I tried my hardest to be like, I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna leave that alone because it's in the news, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to just get all worked up. Or I try to I teach people, when I was in business, to be uh, responsive. Respond, don't react. React is like right away something happens, boom, there you go. You're like, here, look at this, what's going on here, what's going on here, and you're really emotional. It gets you riled up. You get really emotional, looking at all the wrong that's going on. You got to kind of like take it in and kind of meditate and on it, or I mean, not meditate, but meditate on, like, on the word of God. What are we to do now? Take an educated approach to things, kind of how the Bible, slow to anger, right? You got to be slow to respond to some of these things. And what I find is that the information that goes on in the news, the events that happen all throughout, these days, it's so quick. There's so much things going on. People dying here. This person's son passed away. A football player passes out. All these things going on. I believe that it's all designed to get us emotionally involved. Like when Kobe dies, or when the lockdown happens, or when there's a crazy balloon in the air, everybody's like, look over there, look over here. You know what I mean? And I know that it causes people to move and get emotional. And so when we're all sad at the same time, we're all angry at the same time, which is what happens in politics. You see, this person is, enraged of this side, and this side's fighting about what this side said. It keeps us, really emotional. It keeps us arguing. It keeps us, going at each other, fighting against your brother, arguing with your brother. And I believe that these entities feed on that information. So when you say, these puppets, like, see, like, these people can't be real. These people, this has to be scripted.
It's all a
The kind
distraction.
of craziness that we see.
It's literally all a distraction. Like, they want us fighting against each other. They want us divided. They don't want us to come together. There's power in numbers. There's power in the people.
Yeah.
And there's like 500 of them, the quote unquote people in charge, compared to the billions of trillions of people that are on this earth.
Yeah.
They want us divided.
Yeah, absolutely. I got into that fight a while, and I picked a side, and I fought for that side, and I went and protested and got into the caravans and all that stuff, and I did it. I did hardcore, and I took my children with me, and I was like, I believe in this, and I'm going to stand for it. And even though people around me were, they were upset, they got mad at me, and I was like, no, what I mean, I don't like abortion, and so I'm picking a side. I'm standing for the children. And I felt like, even though I'm happy that I fought for what I believe in, at the same time, now I'm looking, I'm like, man, I just kind of fell for that, didn't I? I just got all into the fight, and when I was out there, I didn't like what I was seeing. I saw brother versus brother, and I seen people bullying other people, mistreating other people. I'm like, wow, there's no real, you bring your facts, we'll bring our facts. It's dirty and nasty now. I've had people turn on their sprinklers on me and my children. Just nasty stuff. And then I'm looking at them like, I could really get into some trouble here, getting all upset, with the crowd. But we decided, stay away from it. And I realized, man, these are all just here's one puppet and here's another puppet, and everybody fought over it. I'm like, this ain't even a real fight. I mean, this is not the real fight. What are we doing here?
I used to protest at the
I moved on from there.
abortion dumps. I used to protest, so I know what it's like.
Yeah. So on that's a pretty crazy subject too. I fought a Satanist. Not fought, but I got into it with a Satanist there at the abortion clinic, who he came out to fight against us, and I'm like, wow, it got bad. I'm like, wow, this is just a trap. This is just a trap for me to come over here and get myself locked up.
Well,
I stayed away from them. But I mean,
There's so much evil in this world, and then there are so many people fighting against God and against the belief in God, and it's like, to me, that means that they're really fighting against themselves. They don't know who they are, where they come from. They have no purpose. They have no sense of self.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel for the children these days because I don't know, it just seems so easy, growing up. I don't know about your background, but I was taken to church, and um I believe I was taught about God, and he makes the most sense to me. Even now as an adult, I could have easily gotten away with it as I started to learning about this kind of stuff. And there was a point in my life as a young adult, I started to question God. But he is no doubt existent. He is no doubt the creator, the father. Um, and now that I look at the world and the way it is, like everything they're doing is to hide us from God, to hide us from knowing who he is, hide us from knowing the truth. You know, even the word has been hidden, hence the apocrypha. That word has been hidden away from us, so we don't have the full understanding, or so that we can fall for the understanding of the world that's given. We've gotten a diminished version of the word of God that's being made mainstream word. You know, we don't have the full teaching.
I would say
So
they may have
it's
done
pretty
a lot.
crazy.
They may have done a lot to prevent us from knowing the full truth. But I would say to that is our responsibility is to go and seek the truth ourselves.
Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is why I do this kind of thing, because this used to be a book club channel. It used to be just a church channel, and then before that, originally this channel was just to store extra videos that I had that I didn't have room for in my computer. But eventually, I started hearing about this stuff, and I'm like, as I got into conversations with regular people in my life, and I'm like, you never heard of this? You never heard of this? You never heard of this? And they're completely blinded to it. I'm like, why are we not talking about this? Why are we not talking about this crazy phenomenons going on? Why are we not covering, changes in the Bible, changes in the Word of God? Why are we not talking about the books the Apocrypha that are being hidden from us, that have been told by a man that they're not canonical? Why are we not talking about these things? Like, this should be at the forefront of discussion amongst people. Like, why is part of the Word of God been taken from us? And the interesting part is why people they kind of like, they just look at it like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, what kind of life is that? Do you just live a life just saying whatever and just take information as it's presented, and you don't want to research, you don't want to look into yourself? That's the most interesting to me.
A lot of
People
them
just kind of,
are
like you said, sheeple.
fools.
People just kind of go with the flow. Yeah, absolutely. I want to know why. Like, why don't they want to research? You know,
Cowardice,
I mean,
cowardness,
it's
fear.
oh yeah, for sure,
I would
hundred
say
percent.
the biggest thing, and this is kind of going off topic, sort of, but the biggest thing that literally changed my life forever was the flat Earth. Um, I remember like it was yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. I'm getting really teary eyed right now because I just remember how I felt during that time. It was kind of around the same time I
Mhm.
learned about the whole mind reading technology stuff, but maybe like a few months before all of the whole mind reading stuff. But I remember sitting on my at my kitchen table one day, and I randomly thought to myself,
Mhm.
why can't I feel the earth move? Or why, just like actually starting to pay attention to the sky and like the sun and the moon and the stars, and just realizing that they literally
Mhm.
they revolve around us, and we're not like, there was a point in my life where I was literally questioning God, or questioning why we were here, and are we really alone in this,
Yeah.
what everyone likes to say, the universe, and like, how can God be looking down at us if we're spinning through the
Mhm.
galaxies 666,000 miles per hour, and just a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Funny numbers.
Yeah, and like, you think about the numbers, and like, all of it is 666.
Yeah. It just happened. That's like the magic number.
Yes.
It's always there.
I
Threes and sixes and 911s. They're always there.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but in Judaism, there's what's called numerology, and basically,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you add different stuff up, you get like certain words and all that weird stuff. But yeah, so
I didn't know that was like connected to um to your, what is it, Jude, I'm sorry, how do you call it? I mean
uh,
Jewish.
yeah, so there, so there's a sect of Judaism that I do not follow, where a lot of people, they're
Okay.
into the whole Kabbalah. And I believe, oh man, this is a whole nother rabbit hole that we could be here for another 2 hours talking about. So I believe that the people who call themselves Jews today are not actually Jews.
Wow.
They are basically,
Ashkenazi Jews.
yeah, they're the Ashkenazis. They are not the biblical descendants of the Israelites. And so they are the ones who have like harnessed all of this, like the Kabbalah and the magic and the sorcery and all that stuff. Like, look at Hollywood. And this is
I
no
didn't.
conspiracy. Look at
Yeah.
Hollywood. Who owns Hollywood? Who owns the music industry? Who owns literally almost everything in the world? The Jews, the
They
Ashkenazis.
they've joked about it on television.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with a book
Yeah.
called,
They
what is that book called? The Protocols of Zion. Literally every single thing in that book is true. And they like to say, "Oh, well, it's
Wow.
it was a forgery." You have to read the book and to see like what was actually said, and literally is being, everything is happening now from that book.
Wow. That's interesting. That's something that I wanted to look into, because I've heard the theories, and it makes so much more sense to me than the official narrative, of how the Jewish travel down. And I might have it wrong. I mean, again, I'm not an expert, but I know that there's a tribe in Africa that has the robes that they wear, that the Jews in Israel now wear the same styling. So it's like, which one is the real one? You know what I mean? And so I heard the stories and how the Jews that took the place now, and I know there's someone who has the quote unquote Christian explanation of that, but it's something that is ignored to me. Nobody talks about, enough. And I have a friend who's, um, you know, uh, I don't know the official word. He calls himself the black Jew, and he's. I used to be a bouncer with him. Very very intelligent person. And so at first I looked into it and I was like, "What are you doing over there?" Because he moved away to the East Coast, and I see him on Instagram, and I'm like, "What have you got? What have you got yourself into?" And so, but then I started hearing about what's going on. I'm like, "Wow, that makes so much more sense. That makes so much more sense to me." The real Jews. But and again, I'm still learning more about it. I definitely want to look into it. But I didn't know that they were the ones that I didn't know that they believe in the cabal, and all the magic stuff, that
So
we're talking about now, or
we're
that some of our truther friends.
So, where do you think the idea of a spinning ball comes from? It's,
I want to say Copernicus.
it's in the Kabbalah. That's where it all comes from. It's Kabbalah.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So I didn't do my research into flat Earth, not like a lot of my friends have. But however, I do believe that this is a flat Earth, a flat plane that we live on. Um, and I know that it doesn't make sense when I see NASA doing anything. I'm looking at it saying this is CGI, this is scripted. They even say things that are, you know, pretty much it's fake. If you have the eyes that you see and the ears to hear, it's fake. But yeah, I didn't know the origin of what it is, of why they taught us that. So that's interesting. I didn't know the Kabbalah. Is Kabbalah the Cabal? Are we talking about the same thing?
They might as well be the same thing. The Cabal, yes, a bunch of
Hmm.
Ashkenazi Jews who rule the world.
Wow. So this I'm glad that you're liking it to dive into this. Check out. I'm gonna refer to you to yeah, I got some channels I want you to look into. But definitely I want to look into that some more. So yeah, I didn't know that they're behind the whole globe Earth theory, which I just look at it now. I'm just like, how not people just put two and two together? When I see the sun setting, I see it moving around. It's not going in a straight. It's not in a straight line, and the stars formation it's always the same. So how are we spinning around so fast, but yet the stars are still there? The formations are still there. They don't move. Someone needs to explain that. Do all the stars go around too, or what's going on here? And why can't we get back to the moon? Someone explain that. That's never been touched. Just that we lost the technology. There's a lot of loose ends there. But yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. I want to see, knowing where that came from. I never looked into that. All I know is that they just taught us that to get away from the truth, about the flat Earth.
Yeah, definitely. Have you watched the Flat Earth documentary by Eric Dubay?
Is that the one that was on Netflix?
No. Oh, you haven't seen the Eric Dubay documentary?
No, I hear him. I hear him all the time. About him all the time.
Okay,
From
so
this new generation of flat earthers.
once we're done with this stream, you have to watch the documentary.
Okay,
I'm gonna
I'm surprised I haven't because I've been hearing his name ever since I heard about it.
Yes, I'll send you. And then they've like demonetized his YouTube channel, and like you know how YouTube has literally taken down a lot of flat Earth videos. So
Mm.
I'll send you his YouTube page, and then I'll send you the flat Earth documentary.
Okay,
And
yeah, nice. I'm gonna check that out.
okay, I just sent his YouTube in the chat, and then I have to like really really search for the documentary because I don't even know if it's on YouTube anymore. So I'm sure I'll
It's
find
got to
it.
be on Odyssey. Odyssey seems to be pretty safe.
It's called
Okay, I see.
The Earth.
Um,
That's not it.
Eric DeBay. That's Eric. That's so funny. I can't believe I never looked him up. I mean, I've heard from literally everybody that's talked about Flat Earth, has talked about Eric DeBay, and I've never watched it. Um, what got me onto Flat Earth? There was like these little Flat Earth videos, like the 200 proofs,
Uh huh.
biblical proofs of the Flat Earth.
Uh huh.
there was a video series. They'll just do one proof after another, and just like little 15-minute videos, and I'll listen to it while I'm cleaning up, and I'm like, wow, that makes sense, and that makes sense. I started putting the pieces together. Like, okay,
Yeah, I remember
yeah, I
like
definitely want to dive into this flat Earth.
when I first opened my eyes to flat Earth, I cried and cried so many days, so many days.
Wow, it's intense. Like you've been taught something your whole life.
Okay, I just
And then uh,
oh, I was just saying, I just sent the level documentary.
okay, let's see. Just sub to his channel. Oh, nice. Okay, definitely. I'm gonna bookmark this. Is this on? Oh wow, he's got the whole thing on here.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, but when you search it on YouTube, it
Yeah.
doesn't come up.
Oh, he's hidden away. Yeah, he's even got the little blue section. About saying the flat Earth is just a theory thing. Yep, I'm gonna save this to my watch later, and I'm gonna watch that definitely. Thank you. I always forget. I forgot all about him. But yeah, it looks like he talks about Tartarus or Tartaria.
He talks about a
Okay.
lot of different
Like I
stuff.
said, that's another thing I got into. Yeah, have you looked into Tartaria,
No, I
but the old
haven't.
world?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, that's a good thing. That's a good one too. It's pretty much when God flooded the world, um, some of the buildings that were left behind, and we just kind of moved into them and built upon them. They're still among us. Like a lot of our courthouses and stuff, you can see it's all like uh, what they call it, antiquitech. Like it's ancient technology, the fallen technology. These antennas on these buildings.
Oh,
But
that.
yeah, I got some friends on. Yeah, you want to check out some friends of mine too. I'm gonna refer you to Ronnie. Check out Ronnie's channel. Again, a lot of our YouTube friends here, like we all have different pieces of the puzzle. We don't all have the same understanding of everything. Some of us know more on one subject, some of us know more on the other, but we all mesh together. Basically we're all down to uh, you know, trying to figure it all out and put the pieces together. So Ronnie's a good friend of mine. Let me copy this one and send this one to you. I definitely saved the link to Eric DeBay and that documentary. I'm gonna check that out. In fact, I'm gonna sit down with my wife and watch that so that she hears from me, and then she'll like, oh, what else? What else? She'll start learning, and she'll start pointing things out. Like, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? And so we kind of share with each other that way.
Well, it's
But
good that you.
I'm gonna shut it down.
Does she believe
Uh,
in like the whole mind reading and flat Earth?
yeah, so she's really open minded. She doesn't do her own. She doesn't like look into it like I'm constantly listening to YouTube. I'll have it playing in the background while I'm working or doing stuff. So I'm trying to gain more information. And what I share with her, she'll question it and then be like, "Well, what about this?" But then she'll start to understand what I'm talking about because she'll start to experience the same thing. This mind reading stuff happens to her too. It happens to her too, and so she's like my kind of like my guinea pig, not my guinea pig, but I'll turn to her and share with her and see what her thoughts on it are and see if she experiences it too. Like Mandela effect, I use my wife and my daughter. I'll turn around like, hey, spell this word, and see if they have the right understanding or if they remember like I do, or if they remember the way everybody else does. And they've been pretty much the ones I bounce information off of, But yeah, she sees it too. She sees it too. It rarely happens to her, but when it does happen, she'll turn around, she'll be like, huh, and she'll like, I was just thinking about this, and here's what happened. She'll show me on Instagram, what commercials that she got. So it's been crazy.
Well, that's good because not
Shit, I've been lied to my whole life.
everyone is with someone
What?
who's open-minded in that way.
Yeah, I just and I see that too in our circle of friends here. I really want you to kind of get to know some of the people in our community, like Sharon and Scat and Moises here. We all kind of stay around the same group of people. It's kind of it's good to get around like-minded people. And kind of bounce ideas off of each other and share like this. But yeah, for people that are with they have a partner who doesn't see it the way we see it. Don't lose hope. It's sometimes it hits. And I've seen it happen so many times with other couples where one believes it and the other one doesn't. And later on, the other one goes, just it kind of just clicks. And they finally realize when they're like, wait a minute, there's something behind what you're saying, and they start to pick up on it too. And so I heard you mention it, a couple times in the stream, and don't, don't let it get you down. You gotta stick to what you know, what you feel, and continue to share it. And I can understand, I don't know how you're taking it, but I can see the struggle between anybody that doesn't see it, the way you do. But it's I mean, it's all good. I think it'll all work out in the end. Let's see what Sharon shares. I've been lied to my whole life by my mother, baby. That's why all this don't get under my skin so bad. I see. Yeah, it's kind of like the shock factor when you first realize things aren't as they seem. Especially when it's so rampant. As soon as you put your child in school, they're taught about the globe. All the child programming. It's all taught teaching the globe in space. And have you seen what's going on in the news now? I just saw it right now, or I'm sure Ronnie covered it, and other people covered it. 12 days ago, the whole alien is all out there now. You know what I mean? The government's backing it up and talking about it right in front of our on TV. It's crazy.
My thing
It's
is
crazy
like
how far they go to lie to us.
people are actually surprised, and I'm like, are you guys serious? Like they have been, and when I know I don't watch TV, but like I'll watch shows or something on my computer, and like the only thing I watch is like subliminal movies, like movies with subliminal messages and stuff. They've literally been putting this in shows and movies for years, and that's why I named my my profile on here. The truth is out there, because I watch the X-Files, and they have like a lot of episodes where they talk about like aliens, and one of the guys, he said, well, he worked for the government, and he said to one of the main characters, his name is Mulder in the show. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but he said to him,
I haven't watched the show, but yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, he said to him, he's like, well, are they here? Why won't you tell me if they're actually here? And then the government guy turns around and he looks at him. He says, well, they've always been here. Like, wow. Just stuff like that.
It's right there in front of our faces.
Yes. It's like they're playing with us because they know that people are stupid.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is entertainment. Everything is entertainment.
100%. The truth is in the movies, and the lies are in our textbooks, in our schools. And it's funny you bring up the X-File, because it's right there in front of our faces on television, and in the movies. Have you seen the movie Paul, the little gray alien? His name was Paul.
Paul? No, I haven't seen it.
So it's a comedy movie about two guys who they like to go to those exposés about aliens, and they like to go to this show and that show, and they travel from Europe to America, and they go to Las Vegas. They want to go to this convention, this alien convention. They're like big alien fans, and then they run into a little gray alien who's running away from the government. And they somehow end up traveling together in this RV, and they meet this alien. They're like tripping out, right? It's exactly right, Moses. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. I gotta admit. Even though the whole time I'm like, this is their demon agenda pushing aliens. Anyways, so the two guys who love aliens all their life, they've been wanting to, they've been following this whole alien fad thing, and so they meet one, and they end up traveling with, and they're like tripping out when they first meet. It's the two guys that do Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. Those two funny European English guys, and they're like looking at each other when they first meet the alien. It's funny, and they're like tripping out, and they're like, oh my gosh, it looks like just like how they look in the movies. And he goes, well, yeah, of course. The alien's talking. He's like, well, yeah, of course. They're gonna drip feed you my image, so that when the days come when you really do see us, you're not gonna trip out, like you're doing right now. It's funny. They just kept on like showing us aliens, and teaching us, the Marvel thing went from, protecting our country to fighting aliens. Like everything goes back to space and fighting aliens, and it's all this agenda that they push, and now everything there. Now we're into aliens and multi universes, and so there's also a small bit of truth in some of them. Yeah, exactly. The movies will always drop a line, just like how Yana just mentioned right now with Mulder, or was it Mulder or Scully that said that line?
Mulder.
There was a little truth there, right in front of us. Mulder, okay, yeah, it's there you go. Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, those are the actors. Um, the truth is always there. They put it right in front of us. Little
So,
Mermaid. If you're into the Marine Kingdom.
so what I put in the chat earlier was from a scene in the Minority Report, and it's kind of, when I saw that,
Oh,
I'm like, wow, this might be mind reading technology. You should play it. It's really creepy. Like, it has to do with advertisements.
let me see. The first link that you drop. Oh yeah, here we go.
Yep.
Let me share that. Let's see. There we go. Let me throw it on the side.
A road Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled.
Good evening. John Anderton.
Isn't that trippy?
John Anderton.
It's all speaking to him. Oh, there goes the cube.
Get away, John Anderton. Forget your troubles.
And then there's another scene where the advertisements keep coming up to his face, and he's literally like pushing them out of the way.
Back to the gap. How those assorted tank tops work.
Wow. And there goes it read his eyes, huh? That's
Yeah.
how it's identifying. Isn't that what's now we have Toyed in our phone.
That for you.
Mr. Yakamoto.
Hey, Miss Balfour, did you come back for another pair of those chamois lace-ups?
That's funny. Yeah, it was right there in front of our faces. It's this technology is real. Google's already showing us primitive versions of it, but I think it's much more than that. I think we got to look into this stuff, and it can become dangerous. But definitely, yeah, we covered a lot of subjects today. And I'm so glad that you were able to come on. I have to wrap it up in a bit. And I thank everybody for being on here. But it's been Indy. Welcome. What's up, Indy? Yeah, I think we went through a lot, and I think a lot of what we talked about, we got to spin off of that and talk about it some more. Ashkenazis, this technology, you know, looking at the technology that they're putting out there. Black Mirror is all the way to relationship. Have you looked into that, Yana?
Oh yeah, I remember we were
I haven't
talking
watched it yet,
about
but
it.
I've been told.
Yeah, I was telling you about it the
Oh,
other
yeah,
day.
exactly.
With the episode where the
That's
woman
right.
she used her boyfriend's social media pages and stuff and literally uploaded his soul into like what was it? Like basically brought him back by using his social media posts.
Really? Through a Black Mirror portal.
No,
Is that what happened?
no, it was here, let me see. The episode was called Be Right Back. Be Right Back. Black Mirror. The show is called Black Mirror, but that's not like 1 second. The main like basis of the TV show. It's a lot of different like topics related to surveillance and people and social media addictions and stuff. Trying to find a scene. Well, this is pretty long. This is 11 minutes long, but I can send it to you. But basically her
I just
boyfriend
remembered.
her boyfriend died, and a friend of hers told her about this service where she could like take his text messages and videos and social media posts, and she can basically recreate an artificial him.
What?
So basically uploading his
And as
soul.
per usual, there will be spoilers ahead for the entire.
They uploaded their soul to the internet.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch that. I'm gonna check that out. Indy says it's a creepy episode. Okay. Says the Black Mirror because it shows us the evil side of humanity too. So I've heard of it being portals. I've heard of Black Mirrors. That if you sit and stare at it long enough, that you see something strange. I've heard people say weird things of images that come through. It's a version of artificial intelligence. Yeah, there you go. Again, I interchange that artificial intelligence with just intelligence, that there's something there, working through our thing. We just kind of built a pretty much a body for a disembodied spirit that it's able to operate through.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch you this video. I thought about a commercial that would play. It played to me for like a year straight. For Amazon, the Amazon stores. So I was really upset when it came to, because I had this idea for that shopping cart, the Go shopping cart that they have. That was an idea that I've had when I was younger. I was thinking of inventions, and I just shared it to a person because I had a business for 9 years, insurance and investments, and I insured this guy. Oh, sorry, I was playing this video the whole time, and I'm sorry. The video was playing the whole time, watching it, but you guys, I wasn't sharing it. I'm sorry. Anyways, yeah, I shared it to this guy who's an inventor. He and his son actually created Google Hangouts, and so he's got ties, and he was I'm selling insurance to him. I'm writing up him and his family, and I started talking about this idea that I had, and he was all ears. He was like, "Well, let me hear it. Let me hear about it. I want to know." And I was like, I don't know. It sounds kind of stupid. And he was like, no, I want to know what it is. And so I shared with him my idea of a shopping cart that, you just go into the store, throw stuff in there, and you walk out. It scans everything in your cart, comes right out of your checking account. And
Oh
he was
yeah.
like, that's not a bad idea. And I was like, really? Because everyone I tell this to, yeah. I was like, everyone I tell this to thinks I'm stupid. And he was like, no, that's not a bad idea at all. He starts like drawing up ideas on how it could work. And then I never hear from him again. He goes, I'm gonna bring this idea to somebody. If everything works out, me and you are gonna talk some more. And we actually we sat down and ate at a diner one time. He wanted to know more ideas, more about my idea and how we could figure out how it worked. And like, let's, we're trying to figure out, this is um, before 5G, before Wi-Fi really got big and everything. And we start talking about RFDI chips. How can we, what technology are we going to use to make this happen? Because we have to present a viable idea of how it works. And I don't hear from him again. And next, Amazon is like hitting me with that commercial every day. It's like, hey, remember that idea you had? And we got it. And I was like, yeah, really? That sucks.
Yeah,
Okay, now I'm seeing more stuff on that commercial.
yeah.
No, what are you saying?
Amazon is since they partner with Whole Foods, Whole Foods has literally gotten rid of like basically almost all their employees, and now they have self checkout everything.
It's crazy.
I'll
They're not gonna have a need for us anymore.
Yep, I'll see. And then you could also check out with your palm too.
Exactly. All right. Just wave your hand over that thing, and they're playing with the whole mark of the beast idea. Four heads in is it the right hand or whichever hand? But yeah, you know, to buy and sell.
Yep, there it
Right, they're
is.
just copying the Bible and using it as a script to keep us uh keep us worried about it. But then again, maybe I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to force. Definitely, they got a lot of things going on right now to get us worked up about it. Hello, Sean. Sorry, Sean. John. I'm sorry, John. And Indy, thanks for bringing that up. Absolutely. Black Mary looks great. I'm gonna check out this trailer. But yeah, I would love to do this again sometime, Yana. For those of you who are new here, this is Yana, who joined, who found me on YouTube and Facebook, and said that the same mind reading that I've been talking about with you guys, she's been experiencing the same, and she wanted to come up here and share her story. So that was the reason for our stream today, and we covered a lot, and I want to go over a lot of this again, and maybe we'll have some more people up here talking about it with us. We have some friends who are really deep into studying these things. Like Ronnie. I think Ronnie's on right now. I'll give you his link. Um, but yeah, Yana, I thank you for your time and I thank you for your knowledge. You seem like a person who's definitely full of wisdom, full of knowledge, and I love to pick your brain about some of this stuff again sometime soon. Maybe we can, make this a constant thing where we talk about more about what we discovered, more theories, more evidence. And it's always good to talk about it and get it off your chest, and it's always good to share. Again, you're amongst friends here who have seen a lot of things and have a lot of information. A lot of our friends here are also great, a great wealth of knowledge to them. Very good people. Everybody you see here in the chat. But anyways, we're gonna wrap it up. Anything else you'd like to share before we finish up here?
Yes, I'll just like to say thank you so much for having me on your show, and I'm truly, truly grateful that I was able to find someone that I could actually speak with about this. And like for so many years, I had just been quiet about it and just bottled it up. And recently, like because it's been happening so much, I thought, well, I'm fed up with staying quiet about it. And so that's when I found your YouTube page and that you were already talking about it. And it was just really good to see that more people are waking up. And like my name says on here, the truth is out there. So everyone, we just have to go, we have to go and find it ourselves. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, David.
Absolutely. Oh, you're very welcome, Yana. Thanks again, Yana. Maybe you'll have a, who knows, this could be something that you do. Like I started talking about it because I felt the same way like you. I'm like, someone's got to be talking about this stuff, and then I just wanted to get my opinion out. I just ended up. I don't stream as often as I like to. However, definitely something that I feel great after talking, after sharing, and I got people really close to me who tell me, this is really what you need to do. Because I used to be on the pulpit, and um, with maybe we thought that was my passion, but my passion is more talking to people like this. And I'm glad glad you came across the video, the comment over there in David's channel. And I'm glad you were able to share more. I hope to hear some more from you. We'll stay in communication and see what else we can put together here. Again, the possibilities are endless. But thank you everybody for tuning in today. I'm truly blessed to have people like you guys just watching and encouraging and commenting. It makes me feel good. So thank you guys for that, for the encouragement by doing that. And you all put up some great content as well. I feel bad I don't get to watch as much as I used to now that I got 2 jobs. But it is what it is. I'll get back to it. My wife, she's trying to go back to work to put me as a full-time dad. So maybe I'll be back on streaming every day like I used to. Anyways, keep your eyes open, your mind open. Pray to God for wisdom and help, and ask Him to help you to see the truth. He'll truly open your eyes, and there's a lot to be seen. Be not ignorant to the devices of our enemy. Because he's truly at work, and to be not in fear. Even though we see what he's going on, we're here to point it out. But it's not to be in fear. We do know that God wins at the end. Heavenly Father, He's got a plan, and we're going to be in victory. So don't worry too much about it. God bless you all. Peace and blessings. Good to see you guys. I'll probably see you guys over there, Ronnie's, in a bit. But thanks for stopping by. God bless.